Hello and welcome to FPL Mate, your best mate for fantasy Premier League content for the 2022-23 season. My name is Dan and it is time for the return for Buy, Sell, Keep, Avoid Gameweek 17 edition. It's been a while since we've done one of these, so I'm kind of looking forward to getting stuck in. And if you enjoy it too, make sure you leave a like before you go any further, and do subscribe if you're new around here as well. But let's get cracking with the rules of the video. So buys are players you probably don't have but should consider bringing in, sells are players you probably have but should consider removing, keeps are players you might be thinking about removing but I think you should keep them, and avoids are players that are pretty hyped up right now but I think they are potential traps that should be avoided. Starting off with a buy, and we have got Darwin Núñez, the 9 million forward for Liverpool, has a couple of decent fixtures in here. We've got that Brentford away game, which is a very good fixture. Brentford have been one of the weaker defences in the league this season, and also Aston Villa away. I know that isn't typically a good fixture, but Aston Villa have been conceding a few chances this season, and you know what? With the lack of Emi Martinez, who is going to have a break for this game, most likely, we're going to see Olsen come into goal for Aston Villa, which could mean that they can be exploited a little bit. Now, I'm not too convinced by Liverpool's defence, but in the attack, we know that if there's anyone who's going to get the chances to score, it is going to be Darwin Núñez. Those of you guys who enjoy your stats, you will like to know that per 90 minutes over the past 5 game weeks, Darwin Núñez actually has the highest expected points per minute, which is pretty insane. Per 90 minutes, his numbers are really quite insane. It's always been about game time with him a lot of the time, getting rested, getting rotated. Never really sure when he's going to play or not, but because Jota is going to be injured, Luis Diaz is going to be injured, it means pretty much Darwin has to play, which is definitely a good thing if you want to go in on the Uruguayan forward. 3 goals and 1 assist in his last 4 appearances, which is pretty nice. Decent XG, decent XA as well, and he's taken a decent amount of shots in dangerous areas. We know he is always in those dangerous areas. We always know that he's going to be there or thereabouts looking to get a goal, and having the opportunities to get the goal. It's always been about, can he finish off his chances, and if he finishes what he receives in terms of chances, then he can genuinely compete with some of the best scoring players in the entirety of FPL. His underlying numbers really are that good right now. He is getting so many chances per minute played. So if he's getting minutes, he's getting points. So I like him as a buy. Maybe think about going for him in your Game Week 17 wild card unlimited transfer squads. Kepa is my next buy, and you know that this is serious when I've put a goalkeeper in the buy section, because I very rarely put goalkeepers in these kind of videos, especially as buys, because usually it's like they're not really worth a transfer. But we do have unlimited transfers right now, and Kepa really is, to me, the standout goalkeeper to go for, and he's still very differential. I think he's something like 2% of FPL managers have Kepa in their team at the moment, and I feel like that is nowhere near enough, and certainly he is my favourite goalkeeper to go for. Very good fixtures: Bournemouth at home, Nottingham Forest away, 2 of the lowest scoring teams in the league, creating the least chances, so clean sheets are definitely going to be on the cards for those 2 game weeks. And then we've got game week 19, a double game week against Manchester City and Fulham. The Fulham game in particular, possibility of a clean sheet there, very possibly. That Man City at home game as well, it's going to be a little bit trickier, but at the same time, maybe he can make some saves. We've seen him making a lot of saves. He is actually a very good goalkeeper on his day. He's had a complete resurgence this season, and he has established himself as the first choice goalkeeper at Chelsea now. It's just been about waiting for him to come back from injury. He's been injured for a couple of games at the end of the last period of the Premier League, I guess, but now he's going to be back in fitness, and he is going to be playing, and he is going to be making saves, and hopefully keep a few clean sheets over this run of fixtures. So yeah, Kepa, for me, definitely the best goalkeeper to go for right now. I can't see a reason why you wouldn't go for him. I think he's pretty much, one of my first picks in my whole team going into this Game Week 17 unlimited transfers, and I feel like he should be for you as well. Good goalkeeper, very good price, decent team he's playing for, and the fixtures look good as well. Everything is looking very nice for Kepa Arrizabalaga going into this period of FPL. Now, Zaha, I feel like I have to put him down as a sell, because he is not going to get any points unless we all sell him anyway. If everyone keeps Zaha, he's not going to get points. That's the way he works. He is the ultimate troll player, and I know it probably feels wrong selling him ahead of this Fulham game, but because we've got that unlimited transfers, I don't feel like we should think about Zaha as in a player we've got who will sell. with this Game Week 17 unlimited transfers, we're pretty much starting again. And you got to try and think, if you were starting again 100% from fresh, you know, the whole Premier League season starts in Game Week 17, would you be putting Zaha in your team? The answer is probably not, because there's just so many other midfielders that do look really good for the upcoming game weeks with some good fixtures. Yes, Zaha has a couple of nice fixtures against Fulham and Bournemouth. Fulham, I understand, looks kind of good. Bournemouth, I don't think is as easy as maybe it looks on paper. And then we have got some tricky fixtures after that, and we know how Zaha works. He trolls us, he gets yellow cards, he misses penalties, he will occasionally score very well, but the only way he'll ever score very well is when nobody has him in their FPL team, because that's the way he works. So yeah, that's basically what I'm saying with regards to Zaha. I just don't feel like he is better than a lot of the other midfield options at the moment. I don't think the fixtures are quite as good as people you know, say they are, and also the fact that if you have Zaha now and you want to keep him, even if you just want to keep him for a couple of game weeks, it's kind of like you're booking in a transfer. You're basically saying, right, I am forced to make a transfer in a couple of game weeks time. And when we've got things like double game weeks coming up, we may have to react fairly quickly to some of the double game weeks as well. Do you really want to have to already have a transfer that you are forced to make in a couple of game weeks? Probably not. It's better off to maybe try and pick up players that you know you're going to keep, or you hope you're going to keep. And then if you get injuries and you need to move things around for double game weeks, you can just do so, and you've got all of those free transfers to do that in, rather than, you know, you're pre-using a transfer essentially with Zaha. So yeah, definitely not a player I would be going for this period of fixtures. Perisic, I'm also going to put down as a sell, just because I think he's played so many minutes during the World Cup. He's definitely going to get a certain amount of a break or a rest straight away. So I don't know if he's going to start against Brentford. I don't think there's enough time. I think he's going to be given time off. He kind of has to. The amount of minutes he played at the World Cup was quite crazy, to be honest. So yeah, it's going to be difficult to have him back immediately. And then after that, we've got some okay fixtures against Villa and Crystal Palace. But after that, it does get a little bit more tricky. We've got teams like Arsenal and Man City, which are not really fixtures you probably want to own Spurs defenders for. And remember, before the break, Spurs defense, it wasn't doing too amazing anyway. So Perisic, a player who has played a lot of minutes over the World Cup, is, you know, getting older, getting a little bit older. He's already a player who is rotated and rested a lot for Spurs. He's probably only going to get worse from here. So overall, I just feel like he's probably not a player I would want to have, you know, for these fixtures. Like, fair enough if you want to try and take a risk on him, but he is going to get benched. He is going to get rotated. He is going to be rested. He is going to be coming off the pitch before 60 minutes. He's going to cause you problems. He really is. And he's not exactly cheap either. And there's a lot of other defenders that I quite like the look of. So yeah, sell. Mitrovic is going to be a keep for me. I've seen a lot of people are actually selling Mitrovic. If you look through the stats of the most sold players, Mitrovic is kind of up there as one of the most sold players, which I find a little bit mad, because we have got that really nice double game week, Leicester and Chelsea. And I know a lot of people are saying, you know, Mitrovic is on 4 yellow cards. If he gets one more yellow card, then he's going to be suspended. Well, I mean, I understand that, of course. That's something that we need to be thinking about, especially if we've got many, many players with 4 yellow cards. But at the same time, if it was Erling Haaland and he was on 4 yellow cards, would you really be bothered? At the end of the day, you still get Mitrovic in the games. You know, it just means that if he does get that 5th yellow card in the next 4 game weeks, after 4 game weeks, you know, it clears anyway. But after that, you know, after these few game weeks, if he gets 1 yellow card, it's really not going to be the end of the world. You can just transfer him out the following game week. I mean, that's all this. That's the worst possible scenario. And as long as he's getting you points before that moment, then who cares really? We've got some nice fixtures here. That Southampton at home is a good fixture. The double game week is obviously amazing. After that, you can think about removing him, of course. He is an absolute machine. I mean, you look at these stats. In his last 3 games, because he's only played 3 games in the last 5 game weeks due to injury, 2 goals there. But look at these stats. 2.49 expected goals, 1.47 expected assists, 20 shots, 18 of which are in the box. 4 big chances there as well. That's in 3 games. If a player had these kind of numbers within, you know, the last 5 games, we would still be saying, hey, that's a pretty decent FPL pick. He's done it in 3. He had a decent World Cup as well, so we know he's back to his best. You know, scoring goals in the World Cup as well, which is always very nice. And he's going to be coming back for the Fulham in full confidence with a lot of very decent fixtures. He is the star man of the show. Everything goes through him. He's on penalties as well. There's so many reasons to keep Mitrovic in your team, despite the fact he is on 4 yellow cards. So look, I know some people, you know, think that's the, you know, the most important thing in the world. A lot of people said the same thing about Erling Haaland before the season started. They said, I don't think I'm going to go for Haaland because what if he gets injured? You know, I'm not going to go for Callum Wilson. What if he gets injured? the same similar thing with the yellow cards. I'm not going to go for Mitrovic. What if he gets another yellow card? You can say what if, but at the end of the day, FPL is about points. And if you can pick a player who's going to get you points, even if you have to transfer them out later, who cares? They got your points. Another player a lot of people are selling is Marcus Rashford, which after that World Cup performance, I don't really understand why. Fair enough, Rashford has not been particularly clinical in the Premier League prior to the break. But if you look at these numbers, again, we're looking at really, really nice numbers here. Over 3 expected goals over the last 5 fixtures, which is nice. Decent amount of shots in those dangerous areas as well. And that was against, some teams that, maybe some fairly defensive fixtures as well. So 6.7 million, pretty cheap. It's, he's a midfielder, so he's getting good points for scoring goals. Nottingham Forest and Bournemouth at home. These are nice fixtures, you would say, in general. And I just feel like Rashford is going to be an absolute machine. Could be playing mostly on the left wing. He's going to be nailed on there. Maybe he goes into the striker position or moves into the striker position at certain points in the game if Anthony Martial is substituted off, for example. So overall, I just feel like he's just a very good pick. He's going to be coming back into the Premier League with a lot of confidence. Man United are going to be coming back into the Premier League with a lot of confidence. Obviously, Ronaldo has now left, which is hopefully going to give Man United a little bit of a boost, ironically. How things turn out is quite crazy, really. But still, I think he's a really, really good keep. Definitely a player that you should be keeping a close eye on if you don't have him already. But if you do have him already, maybe you bought him for a cheaper price. Hey, it's a keep for me. And finally, the controversial ones. Rodrigo is going to be an avoid, which I know he got a lot of points prior to the break, didn't he? A lot of points, and it was in quite good form. He's come into some good spells of form earlier on in the season. He also had some less good, runs of form. The problem is, because the Premier League, was last played over a month ago, like 2 months ago, pretty much, it's kind of a situation here whereby any form a player had before the break, it's kind of like, can you still say that they're in form? I don't know. And, it's that kind of whole idea that, form is temporary, class is permanent. And do we consider Rodrigo a class player in the same way as we say, Rashford, is obviously a very, very good football player, and it's maybe he's been out of form at times. Rodrigo, is he still going to be in form, or is he actually just a genuinely fantastic player? It might not even matter, because he plays Man City and Newcastle next, which are sort of the 2 of the best defences in the whole league. West Ham after that, another tricky defence. So he's got 3 difficult fixtures, and then after that, even after that, we've got a lot of players who are going to have double game weeks around that time, and Leeds United are unlikely to be one of those teams getting the double game weeks. So is it really a player we want right now because of these fixtures? Probably not. Is it a player that we're going to want to keep after that for the slightly better fixtures for Leeds? Again, possibly not. So it's difficult for me to recommend Rodrigo, really, even in his great form that he showed. But we knew he was overperforming. We don't know how Leeds are going to be when they come back. We know that Leeds have some very, very difficult fixtures that are going to cause them some problems when they come back. So, Rodrigo, when I say he's an avoid, obviously I understand he's a very good player and he could be an okay pick, but at the same time, is he a player we want to be going for? Do we really trust that he's going to continue that form? Me personally, I do not. So I'm going to put him down as a controversial avoid. But if you disagree, obviously that's fine, go for him. But I'm not feeling it. Not against City and Newcastle anyway. And my next avoid is going to be Toney. And the reason I've put Toney in here is because not because I think he's the worst player. Like, you guys know by now, when I make these buy, sell, keep, avoid videos, it would be very easy for me to just say, yeah, avoid N'Golo Kante. He's injured and he doesn't get many points. Avoid Jesus. He's got an injury. He's going to be out until the end of February. Avoid, Fraser Forster, because he's the backup goalkeeper. He's not going to start very often. But let's be honest, that's not going to make very interesting content. So I am going to put Toney in here, and I'm going to try and give you some reasons why I'm going to put him in here as well. The main reason is just because I think there's many, many better forward options, and I just feel like, considering Toney is literally by far the most popular transfer in Game Week 17. If you go look at the stats for most transferred in players for Game Week 17, Toney is by far the highest, and that does not quite sit right with me because I think there are so many better options in the forward position. You know, we can talk about Haaland, Kane, Darwin Nunez, even like Callum Wilson, Martial, Nketiah, Mitrovic, who we've already spoken about today. You know, I could go on and on about all of these forwards that I think I would rather have than Toney. The fixtures aren't great. I don't think that matters that much, just because when we look at Toney, he is oftentimes a little bit fixture proof, but he's also a player who can be a little bit streaky as well, score a load of points out of nowhere and then go missing for a few games. I don't know what kind of situation we're going to see with Toney. And the one final question mark over Toney is, of course, his potential ban. He has been caught up in some potential betting offences, which we don't really know fully about right now. There is kind of some people saying that he's going to be suspended for a little while, some people saying that he's going to be all in the clear. We don't know for sure yet. So my kind of opinion on that is, if there is a chance that that's going to happen soon, is it worth waiting it out, waiting past these difficult fixtures, going for another forward who looks good for this run of fixtures? And, you know, we've also got that Bournemouth game after these difficult fixtures, and a couple of decent fixtures after that as well. After the dust has settled, we know what's going on with Toney. Maybe that is the time to move to him. You know, if you've got a Mitrovic, for example, you want him for double game week 19, maybe moving Mitrovic to Toney in game week 20 could work. But for right now, I'm not feeling it. Not feeling it. Too many better options, and I'm a little bit worried about him being suspended. And most of all, I just don't understand why he is as popular as he is. He is obviously a decent pick. If he's going to be playing, he's going to be a decent pick, but he should not be the most popular, most transferred in player of the game week. That just seems crazy to me. So he is going into the avoid category. Another controversial one. That's what this series is all about. It's a bit of fun, guys. But yeah, I'd love to hear your guys' opinion on particularly those avoids and the keeps as well, because I know those ones are usually the most controversial ones. I think they're, you know, it's pretty interesting to get the discussion going. Alright guys, in conclusion, kind of what I was saying earlier, what I would really think about when you're picking your team is think about it from fresh. I know a lot of people will already have players in their team that they've had for a while, but, you know, at the end of the day, we are starting from fresh, and you basically just need to look at the team that you're making as if you were starting a whole new season. Would you still have this player? You know, would you be picking this player if you didn't have them already? I think that's a real key point. Unless you've got a lot of value tied up in them and you really want to keep them. You know, if you've got Martinelli at a very cheap price, if you've got Erling Haaland at a very cheap price, or, you know, things like that, then obviously you're probably going to be more inclined to keep them, particularly if their name is Erling Haaland. But yeah, I would kind of just fresh start, guys. Let's enjoy it. Let's have some fun. You can pick any players you want. Let's look at the fixtures. Let's look at the form. Let's look at the World Cup form. Let's look at some of the injuries that we're seeing. Look at some of the rests that we're going to be seeing as well, and have some fun with it. Yeah, we were on a fresh start. A lot of you guys are going to be competing in the do-over league as well. Let's see what we can do. And that's going to be it for me today. If you enjoyed this one, please do leave a like, do subscribe if you're new around here as well. We've got plenty of other videos on the channel already with plenty more to come. I'm looking forward to doing a differentials tier list video tomorrow, so make sure you've got notifications on for that one, because that is going to be a really interesting one. We've got some really interesting picks in there that I think you're going to like. A lot of the players that you guys are talking about in the comment section, we're going to be talking about them. So yes, guys, that's going to be it from me today. Thank you so much for watching once again, and I will see you later, mates. Bye-bye.